my channel. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're a seasoned subscriber. We talk about all things fashion and luxury here. So if you enjoy those kind of conversations, you will probably love it here. So please consider subscribing to the channel. Be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified every time I upload a video and smash that like button. It greatly helps my channel when you do that. Okay, today we are going to talk about the Chanel price increases. Yes, you love it, you hate it, you can't ignore it. Chanel has officially increased their prices significantly, may I say. It is one of the biggest price increases they've had so far. So, and to think about these price increases are coming in this environment is just it's just crazy. So, I'm going to talk about what the price increases are, why I think Chanel is doing this, and yes, my opinion is slightly different than what you might have heard around. And finally, whether I will continue adding Chanel to my collection despite this move by this brand. Okay, so let's get started. I will try my best to give you the facts as I know them. I have some numbers from the essay directly, but do know that these numbers are based on the price increases in Europe. In UK and in US, the price increases are yet to be announced formally, so these numbers might be slightly different than in those cases. Okay, let's get started. I will be looking down because I have noted everything on my phone, so I will be just talking. I will just be looking at my notes while I'm talking. So the good news is, if you are a Chanel boy bag lover, then the price increase is not that crazy for you. It's still a lot of money. Any amount of Chanel bags are ridiculously priced any which ways. So any increase on those ridiculous prices is already a lot of money. But comparatively, as compared to the other models of the fashion house, Chanel boy bags are relatively less impacted in this price increase. So let's get started. Chanel boy bags, if you are looking at the small boy flat bag, that has gone up by 4.3%. The medium bag has gone up by 5%, and the new medium is unchanged, so the prices have not changed there. So yeah, if you're looking for a boy bag, things are not as bad as compared to some other models. Let's say that. If you're looking for a reissue bag, those have gone up anything between 15 to 21%. So depending on which specific reissue bag, 2 to 4 is the one that's gone up the highest, that's 21%. 2 to 5 has gone up by 17%. 2 to 6 has gone up by 16%, and 2 to 7 has gone up by 15%. If you are looking at a Chanel classic bag, this is one model that is usually hit by this price increase. Again, depending on the size, it varies. It goes anywhere between 14% to 25%. Yes, soak that in. 25%. One price increase. 25%. Let's keep going. Okay, so the 25% is for the mini square flat bag. That's gone up by 25%. If you're looking at a mini rectangular flat bag, that has gone up by 15%. The small has gone up by 21%. The medium large has gone up by 16%, 16 to 18, and the essay was not completely sure about that number. And the jumbo flap has gone up again by 16%. Maxi has gone up by 15%. So yes, if you are in the market for a classic flap or a Gabrielle or a reissue, then these bags have gone up higher in price as compared to some others. Actually, I take that back. The Gabrielle has not. The Gabrielle has gone up between 2 to 9%, which is still high. But yes, the maximum impact has been on the reissue and the classic flat bags. And the walk again has gone up by 10%, the classic quilted walk bag. And so yeah, that's those are all the price increases. The Chanel 19, I made a note of that as well. The Chanel 19 has gone up anything between 5 to 10%, again depending on the size of the bags. Generally, as expected, the smaller bags have gone up by a higher amount. and the larger bags are relatively have gone up by a smaller amount. Okay, so this is a very good segue into why I think this is happening. So there are a couple of theories that are going on in the market on why the price increases. The first one is that Chanel does not sell online. As a result, in the past 2.5 months since the lockdown, they have not had any sales as far as their bags are concerned. And to make up for that lost uh, profits, they are now bumping up the prices so that overall they still do fine. That's one theory. The other theory is that Chanel is doing what it always does. We all know that Chanel is has an elitist attitude. Chanel does not necessarily like that people like me and you purchase their bags. They have a very specific image of what their ideal client looks like. And like it or not, the ideal client is not people who have to save up for a bag. Their ideal client is somebody who's unaffected even by something as huge as a global pandemic or as huge as an economic crisis across the world. They are really looking at that level of uh, wealth in their customers that they don't care that Chanel increase their prices by 25%. It probably doesn't matter. And yes, there are many such people in the world who will be unaffected by the fact that the prices have gone up by such a huge amount. And then there would be some customers like us who save up, who can afford these bags, but you don't just get up on a whim and money is no issue and just go and buy anything and everything that you like. So there are right now Chanel has both kind of customers, but they are trying to weed out the ones who could be impacted by something like a Chanel price increase and only stick to the ones that really would not even be bothered. So they're really trying to get their brand up there with Hermes, be very exclusive, be very elusive about who can actually own their brand. And that actually aligns very much with my opinion on why Chanel is doing this. And I'll explain why. Chanel is not it does not sell soaps, right? It does not sell groceries. It does not sell anything that is fast moving and that is sold in huge quantities. So yes, even though in the last 2.5 months they have not been able to potentially sell as many bags as they would normally have, they don't sell a lot of bags any which ways. They sell few bags at huge amounts that gives them their profits, but it's still few bags. And don't forget, there are some sales that are still happening. If you know some SA, uh, I have been told this. I'm not 100% sure because I have not been able to do this myself. But I have been told that if you have connections with SAs, then they are now taking orders over the phone. So they are to some extent making up for lack of online presence anyways. And irrespective, even in the normal circumstances, it's not like Chanel would sell thousands or millions of pieces in a month. They don't. Because they are so elitist, because they are so expensive, they already do not sell a significant inventory at one go. They sell small number of that inventory at very, very high profit margins, which is what it makes gives them their profits and keeps their bottom line keep going. So I don't think losing those sales for 2 months would therefore have made such a huge difference. That's point number one. Point number two is it's not that Chanel has increased their prices for the first time for us to think that it is in response to this. We know Chanel increases their price at least twice a year. We know those price increases are usually crazy. This one seems to be particularly crazy given everything else that is going on, but Chanel always does that. This is not the first time that Chanel has, behaved in a certain manner. So, to that extent, I feel it's kind of trying to link the Chanel price increase to their struggle because of what's going on in the economy is a little naive. I don't think that is the reason. They are doing this purely to make a statement. They have an ideal customer in their mind. That ideal customer is so wealthy that they could not be bothered that Chanel is increasing their prices, and they are not bothered or impacted even in a crisis like this. That is who Chanel is targeting. Chanel is not necessarily targeting people like us or people who, like go and purchase at the resale market. They actually hate the resale market. They've made that very clear. They've done their best to stop the resale any which ways. So yeah, this is just Chanel's attempt, basically, to be an Hermes. Now, whether they will get there or not is a different story, especially because Chanel has a lot of quality issues that Hermes does not seem to have. So Chanel's quality, uh, the depending on the bag that you got, it tends to vary. Depends on the series. I have been fortunate to get the bag that I purchased at a very, and that quality seems to be really good. But I do know that they've had some quality challenges as well in the past. So yeah, that is what I feel is happening, and this is why I think uh, the fashion house has increased their prices. It's basically to weed out who they believe are not their ideal customers, and just continue to stay elusive, continue to stay uh, only available to those who are privileged. And that's also their strategy to ensure that we keep running after them. The reality of the matter is, I mean, think about it. If you compare a Dior to a Chanel, um, or to an Hermes, Dior is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful brands. They've got the best customer service. They've got such beautiful bags, arguably more beautiful than many other brands. However, Dior does not retain its value in the resale market. And you know why? Because it's available. It's easier to get to a Dior than to get to a Chanel. And unfortunately, as much as we say that we value customer service and we value uh, quality and we value all of these things, somehow there are significant amount of number of people who value the elusiveness because they want to feel special. At the end of the day, if you ask anybody between whether you should buy a Chanel or a Dior, they will tell you to go and buy a Chanel simply for the reason that Chanel might increase their prices again. It will become harder to get. You can always get a Dior. So unfortunately, that mindset, that strategy works. People like believing that they are the special ones, and that's what brands like these capitalize on. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's a strategy. So moving on to whether I will continue adding Chanel to my collection and what is my view on this move. I feel it is a good business strategy. I do not think that this business strategy has anything to do with them struggling with what's going on in the system right now. I think it is just them trying to stay elusive. However, if I were the brand manager, if I was managing their brand strategy, I would still think this is a very, very bad idea because it makes them look like they are removed from the reality of what's going on in the world. Even if you are trying to target a certain kind of customers, that's fine. But this is not just about the money. This is about the message that you are sending out in terms of solidarity and being connected with what's going on in the world and being a part of that versus being completely removed as if you had no idea what's happening in the world. Because it's not just about the money, it's also about the mindset of people. It's people are unwell. I mean, lives are being lost. So it's not a happy time. And for a brand to do something like this in times like these, to me, just feels very insensitive. It's not to do with the monetary impact of it. Of course, I hate to pay more, but I understand that that is the brand strategy. What I don't understand is how can a brand feel so or behave in such a disconnected manner with what is happening out there in the real world. So, yes, if I was advising Chanel, I would have not advised them to make this move at this stage. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure there are enough people in the fashion house who have evaluated all the pros and cons, before making the decision. So, yes, this is just my personal opinion. Now, talking about whether I will continue adding Chanel to my collection going forward, to the honest answer is I probably will. And that is simply because I like Chanel as a brand. I do like their handbags. I love Dior. I like Dior more than I love Chanel. I have always said that. But I do love Chanel. It's a beautiful bag. It has a lot of culture, a lot of heritage behind it. And the reality is that as Chanel keeps doing this, this strategy also helps people who already own the bag in the sense that their bags are also now of a higher value. So simply because of the resale value of the bag and the fact that the bag is not only retaining but actually increasing its value, I will probably continue enjoying the bags I have in my collection. I will possibly also add some more. I'm not going to jump at it right now and go and add some bags to my collection, but I will probably do that in the future. So yes, that's the honest answer. I don't want to sit here and say that I hate that Chanel did this and so I'm never going to add it back because one, never say never, and two, the fact is, as much as I don't appreciate what the brand did because of the timing of when they did it and because it makes them look insensitive, I don't appreciate that. But I do appreciate the handbag in itself. I do appreciate the whole design of it, what it stands for. And I do appreciate the fact that at the end of the day, it continues to go up in value. So I will probably continue enjoying it. That said, yeah, these are all my thoughts. There have been some questions on whether Dior is going to follow this. I do not know, but I will not be surprised if they did because Dior again is a part of LVMH, the same fashion house who owns Chanel, who owns Louis Vuitton. And given that both Louis Vuitton and Chanel have gone ahead with the price increase, I will not be surprised if Dior does that. I really hope they don't because I really, really love that brand and I find it hard to believe that Dior can be evil. So fingers crossed on that, but we will see how that goes. But yeah, these were all my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. And please, if you haven't done so already, smash that like button again. I would greatly appreciate if you do that. And I will see you in my next video.